healing crystals, skincare routines, knitting a sweater, fitting in jeans. With Katie and Sarah, no need to worry, you're on a lady journey.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Hi.
I feel like we had a long break, but I think we ended up doing quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah, we have had the same amount of time in between episodes, but we both have just done, we've traveled the world.
We did. I went on a second family trip with my family, and I've come to the conclusion, and you probably might think of this, when you do, it's like if you do family with one family, then you do your family, and then you're like, I need another vacation to decompress from the insanity that I just dealt with both.
A family vacation is not a vacation. It's kind of like just a time of emotional revelations, a time of regression. You're like, oh, I didn't realize I was still doing that.
No. And I want to preface that I've had fun on all of them, but there's always a one-a-day incident.
Yes, there's one thing a day where you're like, and okay, I didn't realize that person was going to cry. Yeah. So many things happen when you're with family because you just get like triggered from like, so many unconscious behaviors end up coming back out. Like I remember once my brother and I got in a really bad fight at the dinner table, especially when alcohol is involved, which, I'm like, ooh, time to cut loose. And then 4 beers later, I'm screaming and crying. I don't know why. But one time my brother and I got in a vicious fight about the documentary The Pyramid Code. We were fighting about the year that it was made, and it was like everyone was sitting at the table. We were standing up yelling at each other, and we were like, what are we doing?
You can't get out of it, and then before you know it, my sister and I, we now throw the C word at each other in front of family members. And then
we're like, and we're here now, and we're here.
Yeah, it gets really, and then you realize the fight was really bad, but is it a deeper thing that's happening?
Yeah, it's almost like I think whenever I go home to my family, I'm like, oh, this is an unconscious pattern that we all have where it's like one-upsmanship or like argumentative behavior or like needing to be right. And then it's like you get locked into it without realizing what's happening. And then it just escalates so quickly.
I also think and we'll do a deep dive on our Patreon.
Yes, a very deep dive.
Because this is going to be more surface level Travelogue stuff.
Yes.
Of like where to go.
Yeah, where to go. But if you want to know our family secrets, you need to pay $5 per month.
Yeah, $5 a month. We've lost our leader in our family. It was my dad.
Yeah.
And now I think it should be a reality show.
Succession.
Who takes the new role? And I think there's a fight of personalities happening. And I suspect it's between my sister and I.
Interesting.
Yes, where I think I'm more of the quiet business owner and she's the personality.
You're more of a Kendall.
Yeah.
And she's the Siobhan.
Yeah, she's the Siobhan, yes.
Or she's the Roman, maybe.
I think she's the Roman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what we're dealing with.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I feel like my family and I, we've gotten better. I've gotten better myself just at being like, take a pause. You know, like when you start to get like caught up in like anxious stuff, just like being like, and let's pause. Let's take a pause.
I just leave.
Just leave the room.
I'm like,
time for your crocheting.
Because they don't even know, if you're in a big enough group, they don't notice that you've left.
Yeah, that's great. Just go back. I know. I always am like, I'm tired. Time for a 4-hour nap.
At 4 p.m.
See everyone at 9. Well, and I went on, so you did a family trip to Grand Cayman Islands, right? And I went on my destination wedding trip, not my wedding, wedding of a friend. And so I have some tips as well, because I did all inclusive. My boyfriend came with me. And then also there was drama, which I will be revealing on the Patreon.
Yes. Some really, I just love drama.
Oh my God. A destination wedding, of course.
It's, as we said,
it's the whole point.
It's mental illness from around the world meeting in one place where no one's been before, so everything is heightened.
Yeah, there's bugs.
It's hot.
It's hot, and then we all have 17 outfits.
Yeah.
But no, it was lovely. But before I want to get into it, I do want to give a shout out to our new Patreon members. Speaking of these people,
we got a hit this month.
Yeah, we have a steady influx. We have a steady influx, and you can be in our Patreon too, and you will get a gemstone dedicated to you. Look at this. This is one of our pieces from Jacob E. Downey. Check out his YouTube channel. This is a piece of amber, unlike the other.
Lightly see-through.
Yeah,
it looks like what I would call raw amber.
Raw amber. To me, it almost feels like a lozenge.
Yes.
I kind of want to eat it. And
you do. This like is caramel. It looks like
a caramel. Oh my God, yummy. And this amber is for Kate. Kate, amber encourages creative self-expression and is the gemstone of renewal. Oh my God.
I want to meet this council that puts these descriptors together.
I do too. I think you just need to be a white woman in a flowing...
and you just let it go.
Renewal.
Yeah.
Me and the gals have met. And then we've got, I love this one too. This is another one from Jacob. Look how cool this is. This is sandstone. I've actually never seen this before.
Okay.
I love
feel
that
like
one.
Soft minerals.
Yeah, I love that. This one is for Adam. Sandstone is a stone of leadership, encouraging the wearer to be benevolent and bestow blessings on others.
Oh, wait.
Wow.
Did you see the comment of somebody saying they just got out of rehab and they noticed that they got a stone dedication? Isn't that exciting?
That is so nice.
Not think that anyone's thinking of you while you're in rehab.
And then know that you've been on a journey the whole time. Now, rehab journey, that's a great journey.
I never did it, but there was a time period I remember where I wanted an intervention and I could go to rehab because rehab sounded great. But it was always expensive.
There's definitely been a time when I've wanted an intervention just for the song and dance. You know?
Just for the center of attention. Yeah.
Well, I had a period where I wouldn't call it, I didn't go to a rehab, but I did quit drinking after some scary instances of bad binge drinking. I quit. And so that was kind of and then I had a bad relapse, and then I quit again for a longer time. And that was kind of a rehabilitation phase for me. And I do remember it being like pretty challenging to not drink and to be around alcohol without.
Yeah, you have to like isolate.
Or like sipping a beer or something. Or like, I remember I went out on Halloween one year and I didn't drink. I was just eating a plate of onion rings while people were like getting hammered. I was like, this is my beer.
And then you're the weirdo.
Yeah, you're the weirdo who's eating 7 orders of onion rings. I'm like, one more. So good luck on your rehab journey.
Yeah.
Anyone who is out there.
Yes.
So can I start with my destination wedding?
Yes, I feel like I took court last time with my vacation that it's your turn.
Okay, so I just got back yesterday.
Okay.
So I'm still like, it is actually a real psychological phenomena I found from looking at the internet is like vacation depression, where you're like, I built this trip up so much in my mind. I had every outfit picked out because I was in the bridal party. I had like so many events planned, so many things. And then I was like, and now it's over. And it's like, who am I?
I have that all the time. You're like, we spent months planning. There was group threads. Then
so
we're
many
in
threads.
it.
Yeah.
And then you leave it and you're like, did that ever happen?
Did it? What was it? Like, I had relationships renewed over like planning stuff for this wedding. And I have to say, everything did really go off without a hitch, of course, because it was, so I went to a destination wedding in Costa Rica. We flew into Liberia, which I thought was like a bit more like San Jose, like a bit more populous. It's only about 50,000 people.
Where's Liberia?
It's on the west end. It's like it's about an hour and a half inland from the coast on the west side of Costa Rica.
Oh, okay. Because I think
Northwest.
I've been to Costa Rica once, and we just flew into the capital,
San Jose. Yeah. So Liberia, like, it was really such an incredible experience for me because I can't recommend it enough. Like, if you can go from New York, there's straight flights. We got tickets for $450. So we fly into the airport, we get in a van, and then we're just driving through like very, very rural, like beautiful pastoral scenes, like seeing so many animals. And it's like you're in New York, and then you get on a plane, and then you're just kind of in in the middle of nowhere. So
like a jungle almost.
The jungle, like literally. And we go and we're like on the resort that we were in was just in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by mountains.
Okay, so it was inland, not on water?
It was on water. Yeah, when we got to the resort, which was like an hour and a half, we were right on the beach.
Gotcha.
But then surrounded by the jungle.
Okay.
And there were like monkeys just on the balcony. Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, I hope we can see a monkey. It was like they were living on the balcony.
And then at a certain point, you're like, they're like squirrels.
Yeah, yes.
I'm done.
Yeah, they were like, every day we would wake up to them like fighting and like overturning the lawn chair. And then they would just take a huge poop on the balcony. We're like, and good morning. It's 7:30.
You're like one step away in the evolution chart.
Yeah. Well, that's what Mike was like. Mike was like, I don't know. I'm worried because they have little hands and they could just go right at you. I was like, they're not going to attack us.
Well, like he's probably thinking of like chimps that just go straight for the balls in the face.
Yeah. Well, of course there was that horrific chimpanzee attack years ago. And remember the woman's face was ripped off. She was on Oprah.
And she had several face implants.
And she now has a new face.
Yes.
But she can't see still.
And I always like, she and that friend are no longer friends. And I don't, which I always like saying, and they're no longer friends. Where you're like, well, of course.
I don't talk to Barbara anymore.
Ever since her pet ripped my face off.
Well, one often left out detail of that story, which I like to tell to spread awareness, was that the woman who was the owner of the chimpanzee, which sounds wrong, you should say like the mother of it or caretaker, whatever, but she was giving it prescription pain. She was giving it like Vicodin and Xanax and stuff, which clearly it needed. It needed a Xanax if it was ripping off people's faces. But still, it's like, you can't do that. Like, of course he's going to be all messed up.
Yeah. And then I feel like she was quite flippant in the behavior of the chimp, that it had already had some incidences prior, that she was treating it as like, it's no biggie. You just go and feed it.
Go get him. Yeah. Well, he was, because the woman was actually her, like she worked for her.
Yeah.
And she was like telling her like, you need to go like wrestle him up for lunch or whatever.
I feel like I would be the woman with the face pulled off.
Oh, same.
Because I would be like, I don't know about this, but I don't want to be difficult.
Yeah. People pleasing yourself into a face injury.
I have...
Well, these monkeys that we saw were capuchin monkeys. So they have little white face, little hands. They were so cute.
They're just mischievous.
Oh my gosh, so mischievous. Like Mike said that he was like, I go over the window to look at it, and then they come up and they're just pressing their face on the window. He's like getting intimidated. But so that was really special and magical. We saw all kinds of wildlife there.
Sloths?
No sloths, because unfortunately, because we were on the wedding party, we didn't get to do like there were some excursions. Like some people did ATVs. We went on like a nature walk, but we just only saw more monkeys.
Okay.
But I wanted to go to a sloth sanctuary, but next time, because like when you're there for a wedding, you're like, okay, we have the rehearsal dinner and the
you
thing
gotta do all
and
that stuff.
And so
we're like, I went once and I want to go back again because it was relatively inexpensive. You can stay in surf villages that are basically hostels, and a lot of the times, especially if you kind of go in off season, not many people are staying there. We stayed in some places that were $10 a night, which would just be like 8 bunk beds in one room, but we were the only people in there.
That's amazing.
And it was a little bit crude, but not bad. Like it still had facilities of pool. Like you could go to a pool. There was a shower. You just don't bring any remnants of like food wrappers in your trash, because it would just, even something that you'd be like, something like this, and you're like, there's no food on this. It would have cockroaches all over it.
It's got a lot of bugs in that place.
Yeah. So you just don't bring any food at all. So there's no crumbs, and then you're fine. But just be wary about that. That was my only
That's good
issue.
To know. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would have loved to do something like that. So we stayed at the resort, which was like all inclusive, which is an interesting experience that I have not had before. But I would have liked to maybe stay 1 or 2 days and do something like that where you're really experiencing, because it felt like I experienced Costa Rica within the sanctuary of an American bubble, where it was like
going to Cancun almost. house where you're not really leaving the outskirts of it because everything's safer within the confines.
Yes,
right?
yes. Like everyone speaks English. Everyone is like catered to you. They have like, all their food there is like nachos, which very good, I must say.
Yes.
The nachos. I had like 4 plates of nachos one day and I was like, I love these.
I love nachos. I always want to make them here and they make it seem like, oh, it's the poor people's food. It's like $40 in groceries to make nachos.
Guacamole, pico de gallo. Like you have to get all of it.
Beef or chicken. Sour cream isn't cheap.
Oh, I love nachos though.
And it takes like 4 hours to make.
Making your own pico de gallo. Yeah. Oh, nachos is one of my favorite foods and I can't get enough of them.
Yes. It's my go-to snack, but I get mad when people don't do them right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just like cheese whiz on top of Tostitos.
Upsetting. So upsetting. No, these nachos, I have to say, the food at the, like, when you do an all-inclusive, I guess, like, the food could be maybe great, maybe bad. Like, this, I felt like there were some hits. There were some misses, but there were some hits. And then nachos, I could see them, like, making the cheese sauce. I was like, that's a good sign. You want that liquid gold cheese.
Yes.
Oh.
That way the natural cheese melts.
Oh, my gosh. And it's so soft and it just gets everything all soggy.
I used to kind of look down upon all-inclusive, but as I get older, and then Joe and I were thinking, when we have a kid, that you're like, I actually think it's there's a huge advantage to doing it.
I agree.
It keeps the pricing down. Yeah. It's easy. Mm-hmm. You don't have to put much thought into where to go.
And they had a kids area in this one too.
Yeah.
There were people there with their kids and it was just like, then 8 a.m. to 4, the kids just like go to the kids part and they like take them on the trampoline. They take them on like a little hike. They take them to like decorate shells. It's like, oh my gosh, great.
Yeah, something for them and then you can do your thing later.
So I think when you go on vacation with your kids, I mean, I don't want to upset anyone by saying this, but you're still working a lot. So I've had a recent backlash on Instagram about my joke that I posted about if I don't have kids, maybe my whole life will just have to be having fun.
Yeah.
And some parents have been upset with me over that.
Because they're not having fun.
Well, I've gotten a lot of angry comments that are like, you have no idea how much fun I'm having with my kids. And it's like, well, it seems like it. It seems like you're having fun right now.
But I gather this from everybody that goes on trips with their kids. Like, again, it's like going on trips with your family that you need another vacation. Because, like, I remember that, I'm not going to make light of this case, but I did remember that couple in Spain, they were kind of an all-inclusive resort with other couples that they've kind of known throughout the years because they always do that.
Yes.
They went down and have dinner, and then each couple, every 15 to 20 minutes, would go back to the hotel room and make sure that the kids were okay. And I was like, who wants to do that? Anytime, I call them countdowns. I had to do one the other day where I was having fun at a pool at the TWA at JFK Hotel that they've revamped up.
Oh, we just were there yesterday. We walked through it to come out.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre how it's like a fake airline. Mike was like, I think this is an airline. I was like, it's a theme hotel.
It's pretty cool. If you were going to JFK, you have to fly out early the next morning. I would suggest staying there the night before to take it in.
Fun.
But I had a podcast in the city and I was doing I gotta leave in 15 minutes. What time is it again? That I was like, as soon as you're doing countdown, just go.
Yes, because you're not able to stay present in the moment because you're just having anxiety about only having 10 more minutes.
I know. And that's how I felt about that family during that trip where their little girl got kidnapped, where I was like, you know what? I don't even think it's worth it if I had to leave the table every 15 minutes.
I would rather just have wine in the hotel room.
Also, what a bummer to be like,
somebody's gone. One of the kids are gone. I know. I don't want to be that person. I do not want to be that person.
And then I would also feel like I would be one of the people at the table, like, I'm sure they're around here somewhere.
Yeah, just like wanting
don't
to
ruin my fun.
Just wanting to have I'm going to have one more glass and then I'm going to come look. Yeah. I think at the resort, there's definitely I was saying this too, like, because we got a jungle view room because I did want to see the monkeys and I wanted to see the wildlife, but like the pool view room was more, and I was like, there's no way that I want to look at the pool because I don't want to look at somebody's kid like barely staying afloat while they're like having another Corona and I'm like trying to relax, like, Jimmy, it's just. I think traveling, we did see a lot of people with kids like 6 or 7 years old, and they were like, oh, it's perfect because it's like, this is our base. We go we see the nature, then we come back, and like all the food's all taken care of.
They have a kids menu because if you're doing like the off-roading stuff, there's no kids menu. There's no chicken tenders in the jungle.
It's like the authentic food of Costa Rica, and your kid's like, I don't like it. You're like
just insulting the culture.
Yeah.
With their
this
little
is
American taste,
and we're going to eat it. So eating at an all-inclusive, I do also say, like, for myself, this was not that expensive. I think this because I was with the wedding, maybe it was a little bit less expensive than usual, but it was about $400 per night for me and Mike.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
That's not bad to have the hotel. The service was incredible.
Okay,
like everyone's
and
like,
it's all-inclusive, right? Does that include drinks?
Any drinks.
That's amazing.
And I drank too. I definitely had a few drinks, but I have to say, people were like complaining that the drinks were watered down. I was like, good, that's great.
That's fine.
Water it down as much. One guy made me a drink. I saw him pour out part of it. I was like, love it. Put more soda water in there because I was just having
hungover.
No, like I didn't have one hangover the whole time I was there. I was like, was I even drunk? I have no idea. I mean, that's perfect for me. I just need to have orange juice and like a thimble of vodka.
Yeah.
And that's all. But so like all the drinks were included, room service. They had a bunch of different restaurants. The place I stayed, by the way, was Dreams Las Mareas, and my friend had her wedding there. The wedding was gorgeous. We saw a bunch of other weddings while we were there too. I think it was a great place to do weddings. Like they had private fireworks on the beach for the wedding couple. It was like so many cool things.
That's always good. I mean, we kind of did that for our wedding. We just did it in a hotel that always has weddings, so they already had a wedding coordinator.
So perfect. Yeah.
It's like, I know these people, a lot of people want to have like the exotic wedding, but like if you don't have the money for that, just go to these places that cater for it all the time.
Yeah,
you don't need it to have special. You just want your guests to have a good time and make it easy.
You want them to do a lot of weddings because then
they know what they're doing. Yeah.
Although, so I officiated the wedding. It was down on the beach. It was so hot and humid. I was wearing like a sequin suit, which my friend picked out for me. My friend who was the bride, she listens to the podcast, so shout out. She looked so stunning, so amazing. So she sends me the photo of, so I was supposed to say like, you can now kiss the bride. Then I stepped to the side. So the photo is a super wide shot, and it's like the bride and groom kissing beautifully. Like he's dipping her back. She looks stunning. And then I'm there holding the microphone, and you can see like my double chin because I was like really hot in the moment. I was like, I'm taking a moment to cool before I continue the service. And I was like, oh my God, I'm mortified. She's like, oh, it's funny. It's like, is it?
For you?
I photobombed the kiss.
Would you be happy in this photo? I know. That's the funny thing, because we had Bobby Kelly, and there are like photos like that where, and then you kind of go in the mode that you think by just doing this, it's made you invisible. But instead you're just like in a weird pose while they're kissing.
Yes. Yeah. It was totally that. And so it's like, of course, with a wedding that where they are doing a lot and they have like kind of a way that they're going through, it's like, well, not everything's going to be like perfectly on cue.
Yes.
You know, it's like, that's one of the drawbacks, I think, of having a destination wedding. But I felt like overall this wedding was like 10 out of 10, just fantastic. The florals were gorgeous. The rehearsal dinner, they like strung lights on this like little grassy area and had like a private bar, a private dinner. It was so nice.
Yeah, especially like if a place does that all the time, like you don't know, you've never seen what they've done, so it's always new to you.
Yes.
I mean, this could be their cookie cutter, but who freaking cares?
Who cares? Yeah, it's like we're all coming here. Like I haven't seen a wedding here before. Like I don't care that they do a ton of weddings. It's like it was special for us. And she had a big wedding too. She had about 55 people. And we all did like welcome party one night. Then we did rehearsal dinner the next night. And then we did the actual wedding. And then the next day it was just like fun at the pool, you know?
Yeah. And then how many days did you stay? A few extra days? Or did you leave shortly after?
2 extra days. So one day we just did fun at the pool. And then Mike and I spent like quality time. We went to some of the restaurants there, which I have to say the restaurants was really a strange experience for me because, it's like you're in Costa Rica, but you're in this weird bubble where you're kind of in like this international bubble of like almost like American culture.
A U.S. embassy.
Yes. And then like they have these, but then all the restaurants are international, you know? So it's like, then we went one night to the Asian fusion restaurant and it felt like we were in almost like a simulation in a way of like an impression of a restaurant.
Epcot situation.
Yes,
yeah.
It was like, and here is like, this is the Asian fusion restaurant where they had like a hibachi table.
But it's a Hispanic guy.
Right. So it was really interesting. And then our other choice that we picked for the next night, we did the Italian restaurant, which was actually both food I thought was like pretty good. Like there was a couple misses where you're like, okay, they didn't nail whatever
lasagna.
Right. Like they didn't nail the lasagna, but like the sauces was fine. But yeah, it just felt like we were in like almost like a Sims game of like, and this is an Italian restaurant. Like
what's also like strange when they have restaurants like that and then you're like, are there any Italians?
Are there any Italians? Yeah.
That worked on the menu here? I don't know why, but that feels like you need that stamp of authentication.
You need a little something. Yeah. Because it does feel strange that you're in another culture. And it's like, we would have been fine to just eat like the Costa Rican food, which we did have at the rehearsal dinner. We had like the authentic Costa Rican food, which was really cool and really interesting. You're like, oh, like I'm in another country. Of course I want to experience the culture of this country.
Yeah.
But then you're like, but also the culture of Pan-Asian. I'd also like to have pad thai and sushi at the same time.
In the jungle.
Yeah.
By the equator.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then Mike and I on our last day we did a nature walk. We stayed by the pool, and we were there 5 days total. And I do have to say, by the end of the 5 days, this is a good feeling to have on vacation. But it was very hot. We got a lot of bug bites. We were sunburned. We were full. I mean, full to the brim of every moment. Me being like, I think I should get another plate of nachos. Like, should I do it? Like, I should do it, right? Because that's the thing about like the food was good, but it wasn't the best food you've ever had, but it was like good enough to keep eating until you're like, I have gone to the bathroom 17 times today and it has not all been pee. A lot of it's been number 2. So I'm getting fiber in there somewhere, but
I know. Also, whenever I eat on vacation, I'm like, I don't know why my body doesn't know what's happening. Meaning like it doesn't know to be like, you're full.
Yes. I was full, but then I was like, but I should get ice cream, right?
I should. Gelatos.
The longer I stayed, the more off the rails I got. To the last day, I was just like woke up and just immediately it was like they kind of try to do like a little portion control where it's like 1 small scoop of ice cream. I'm like 3. Yeah. I'm like, put 3 in there. They're like, ma'am, it's breakfast. The ice cream isn't open. I'm like, come on.
I'm from America. Give me American sizing.
Yeah. I guess that's, it does feel luxurious to have whatever you want whenever you want in terms of like food and drink, but only up to like a certain point, and then it starts to feel bad quick.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I just had 3 donuts and it's 7:30 in the morning.
Well, there's no control. Also, I found that I woke up at 6 a.m.
I was waking up early.
And I don't know why. I am not an early person.
Really?
No. But then I felt like, especially with other people, you cannot be the last one up.
Right.
It makes me think of Meet the Parents. Everybody is friends.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I feel left out. So and then also I'm in secret competition with my sister.
Yeah.
She cannot dominate the group.
I have anxiety when I go on a family vacation. I immediately have anxiety when I wake up because it's like, okay, you have to make the most of it. These people aren't going to be here forever. Like, let's go.
This is a nice place and we have to fit in as much as possible.
And so you guys went to, which islands were you at?
We just went to Grand Cayman and we've been going there for years as our family vacation. As we hit adult years, it's a lot harder to coordinate schedules, but this year we managed to get most of us to to get there. But I don't know if you had this. We went in off season. Did you go in off season?
I think we technically were in the off season because we were in the rainy season, but
yes,
but we didn't have rain the entire time. So I have to say, like, Costa Rica in the summer, do it.
Yeah. Even in the like off season, rainy season, what ends up happening, it just builds humidity. So there's always like an afternoon shower and then it clears up and you're fine. And then it leads for good sunsets.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm older, used to live in New York, but I grew up in Texas, so I'm used to hot weather. In Texas, it's like right now it's 105, and that wasn't abnormal for us growing up to deal with that kind of weather in the summer. But we were dealing with like high 90s in Cayman, and I was like, it was brutally hot that I don't think I would go in the high off season. I think maybe beginning or end of it. Try to get as close to the peak season without paying the high pricing.
I agree 100%. I think that I was so hot on that trip the entire time. Is it's like, you know, especially when you go, it's like you're doing nature, you're laying by the pool and you're outside a lot, and there's air conditioning in some parts, but like a lot of places down there, they just don't really have, like, even when we were in the Liberia airport, like they don't have air conditioning in parts of the airport. You're like, oh, okay, like this is a place where this is kind of the lifestyle here.
Yeah.
And by today, I'm like, I'm kind of ready for the summer to be over because it was just so hot. And then when you go in the winter, or at least like November,
it goes to 80s with breeze.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, you're so ready for a little escape, a little like respite from the New York City winter.
Yeah, well, I was like, we're closer to the equator. You keep forgetting that. You're like, we are by the equator. So it was stuff like that I found to be brutal. Mm-hmm. And then even like the water was great, but even that was like warmish.
Our water was really warm. I mean, Mike and I went in the beach one day and I was like, usually I'm shocked by like how cold it is, but it was like bath water just going in. I didn't stay in long because where I was in Costa Rica, there was like tons of fish, just like creatures all over. I was like, wow, this is really cool. But then it's like cool to a point you're like, is that an eel coming towards me right now?
Yeah. And I remember when I swam in Costa Rica, there's the Caribbean side and the Pacific side. Were you on the Pacific side?
I was on the Pacific side.
Everybody always goes to the Pacific side. I've always liked the Caribbean side because it's calmer, where you have bigger waves. But I know surf people like the Pacific side because you get bigger waves.
It has riptides apparently that are really, really dangerous.
And when we were down there in Costa Rica, this got in my head. I don't know if they're crocodiles or alligators down there.
I think that they
crocodiles?
Well, I always thought that crocodiles were kind of like Australian and alligators were Florida, but I guess it could be. There's something down there, but maybe it's crocodiles.
It's
closer. It
looks like them.
Shares the same sea as Australia, but it's still pretty far.
Yes. And they use the ocean as their freeway to get to the freshwater riverways.
Wow.
So not only are you worried about sharks, I was also worried about alligators.
Yeah, and jellyfish too. Like we had a little boy when we went on the nature walk. A little boy was like, "Yeah, I got stung by a jellyfish. I'm fine now." I was like, "Yeah, I would. There's no way I would be okay."
Yeah, especially when you're not expecting it. Where I've been hit by a jellyfish. Some are like brutal, and then others are just like little paper cuts that you're dealing with.
Oh, I've never had one. I think I would freak out. Mike and I were joking. We're like, who came up with like, you have to get peed on? Yeah, it was like some beach pervert. It was like, no. You need to suck my dick. You're like, what? It's science.
I'm in pain.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. No, I remember one time my sister and I were snorkeling and she started freaking out and I couldn't figure out why. And then I dipped my mask in and she had swam into like a cluster of jellyfish and they were tiny. So they weren't like hard hitting, but she kept getting like, it was like she was getting sprayed with bullets in the water. And then also you have no sympathy for your siblings.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I know they're fine. So then you're just like, oh my God, Vic. You're like, you're laughing, but also concerned at the same time. Like you need to get out of, you're in the cloud.
Yeah. Snorkeling is fun when you see like one fish.
Yeah.
When there's too many, they did have snorkeling at this resort and we did not partake. We just waited a little bit and saw the fish, but they were like, yeah, there's like, there's eels, there are barracudas, barracuda, there's sea snakes, and they're like just 100 yards out. I was like, that's too close for me.
That's enough. I like snorkeling. I find it zen.
Like it. Yeah.
I've never been a scuba diver. I feel like I would panic and come up too fast and get the bends.
Scuba diving is scary.
Yeah, people die in scuba diving. That I just like snorkeling, where I just like to float and I like to look at all the creatures underneath.
Yeah.
So we did that. In Cayman, it's a barrier reef, so they don't have shark issues, which I like.
Nice. That's really nice.
So you'll get like a nurse shark occasionally, but all we saw were stingrays.
Oh, stingrays. Yes, I've seen
which
a stingray.
Don't do anything.
Stingrays are cool. They're like all flat and wide.
Yeah. And
I like that about them.
They're neat. Now they feel like they've been domesticated down there because they're so used to tourism. So a lot of them come up to you thinking that you're going to feed them.
What do people feed them?
Just little fish. When I went, we did a day snorkeling trip. The guy would just give me little bits of like squid, but then you could feel the fish pull on it, and it's like unnerving. So I'd always let go before, to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's enough.
Yeah, no, it's too
weird.
close. Yeah. It's like nibbling your finger. You're like, I'm good. Because they have huge mouths.
They do. And then one time I had a fish and I was swimming, or a squid, and I had it. This was not this trip, but the trip before, like 7 years ago. I was holding it above water, trying to give it to, I think, a member of my family. And I didn't know that they're also seagulls are used to knowing that tourists are around. And it had taken it out of my hand, but clipped my finger a bit. And I remember being like, not expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. And then I remember I had a panic where I saw a barracuda and swam back to the boat, but I swam back and panicked, tried to pull fast, that my boob fell out in front of my family. So there's nothing worse than being in like a state of panic, like thinking you're about to get attacked, and then they save you, and then you're just half naked.
Your tit is just out. That's hysterical. So someone did a prank at the wedding. The day after the wedding, we were like hanging by the pool, having drinks or whatever, and one of the girls got her husband dissolvable swim trunks.
That's hilarious.
She said you could just find them on Amazon, and so he was like, I've never worn these before, or whatever. Just puts them on. She's like, I'll wear these. Gets in the pool, and they just start completely falling apart, and everyone was like. Like, everyone knew about the prank. I didn't know, but I immediately assumed that my nipple was showing because of the way people were acting. I was like, oh no, what is it? But it was just hilarious, and it really made the event. It really made the week.
That is really funny. I'm like into that, but also at the same time, do you think if that happened to somebody's wife, like online, they'd be like this, you need to divorce him?
Yes, he's gaslighting you. That's so true. I know. Although, which wife would accept a swimsuit from her? You'd be like, ew. Why does it have a little skirt on it?
Yeah. Like, I really want you to wear this. You're like, I don't know.
I'm good. It's not my size. So what kind of food were you guys eating?
We kept it cheap. Like, that was the thing. Like, you could get to Cayman pretty relatively inexpensive and stayed like, so we did a 3-bedroom condo that fit about 8 people.
Oh, yes.
So 2 per room, and then we put 1 on the couch. It was 7 or 8 people. And then that ended up being, the whole trip was about $400 per person.
Oh, great.
And we even rented a car, and we did a big van, which was fun, but also just like ridiculous. We kept thinking that it would be funny if we hashtagged our photos van life. When you're like, this is not what they thought. That's not what van life is. No. Riding with your family.
We all have a van.
Yeah. So that was relatively inexpensive, but it was going out to eat, even just to have like burgers or fish dishes. That was kind of expensive. And then the last day we were there, my sister and I's flight was at 5 and everybody's else's flight was like noon. So we dropped them off, and then it was weird. A week prior, I was going on these like on my fashion blogs, and then I noticed like I also followed travel stuff. It said top 10 best hotels of 23. and I clicked on it, and the first one was the Palm Heights at Cayman, and I was like, oh, we should go check this out, but we never had a chance to. And then since my sister and I had about 5 hours to kill, we managed to drop our bags off, and then we went back to 7 Mile Beach, and we just went there, and we had like a really great lunch with appetizers.
Ooh, I love that.
It's also a fun hotel. I highly recommend this. It's very expensive, but if you can't go, just stay in a cheaper resort. Go to the restaurant Tilly's.
Oh, yes. And that's so bougie to be like, we're at the cheap resort, but now we're here.
Yeah.
So we're staying here now. Yes.
Well, the thing with that hotel, they really want you to not leave the hotel. So they have a cool bar scene and then a nightlife. And that's not what our family, we like to go on excursions and go to like all around the island, where this is where like for people that just don't want to leave the resort ever.
Yeah.
But they get whoever did this hotel, it's designed really great. And it's a well-known hotelier family, and they gave it to their daughter.
Ooh,
and it's designed,
nepotism.
Yeah, the best kind. And it's designed really well, but the only critique that I had with it that I thought was kind of like, I was like, yes, it looks great, but it's kind of annoying that they didn't work with the island colors. It was more like African themed, which I get because there is an African influence obviously in the Caribbean island, but like the Cayman has their own aesthetic with their like architecture with their beach houses. It's like, you know, pastel colors,
yes,
concrete,
I love that
because of hurricane. And so I was like, it's weird that they didn't work with their surroundings.
Interesting.
But they always invite influencers, so it's a hotbed for celebrities. So I follow Palm Heights Hotel on Instagram. It's really fun.
Yes.
Lourdes, not the Madonna's daughter, had to stay there. My sister and I were laughing so hard about like her friend group.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, we were like, does this make you feel like a boomer when you look at younger people's friend group and you're like, I remember my friend group and we thought we were alternative, but everybody's like,
everyone
male,
has like
female.
Yeah. Everyone has like the wacky one, the sad one.
Yes.
You know, it's like you just reinvented for each generation.
All creatives. But while we were down there, we peeped into the bar that we weren't allowed to go into. It was only for hotel guests, and there was a well-known author there. So you will see some kind of like artistic or Instagrammer or influencer or somebody in the art world.
That is so cool.
And so it is good for, I would say, sightseeing.
Yeah, a little star sighting.
Yeah, but they had a really good restaurant, and if you can't afford to stay there, just go to Tilly's and you'll have a nice time.
Oh, and I love a lunch with appetizers.
Yes.
Is there anything better? I do love that you guys, you know, I that's kind of, I've never stayed at a resort before, and that was one thing that I was kind of missing about a little bit more of a DIY vacation, is that you get to have the adventure of, I mean, the resort is great because it's like you collapse and you're there and you don't have to think whatever. You're just handed nachos.
It's two kinds of vacations that you can have on these places.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And definitely recommend for Costa Rica that you should do an off-roading one, because Costa Rica offers a lot of cool shit to do. And we didn't even bother.
Yeah.
We couldn't get to a lot of it, like the zip lining, the waterfalls, then the mountain towns where you can do like mud baths, volcanic mud baths.
That's what I would have loved to do. Yeah. Next trip. Because I feel like I will go down again. But one thing I did do, which I was proud of myself, I did not do the timeshare presentation to get a $50 massage. Because I was like, if you consider yourself working minimum wage, you know, like, okay, I'm paying myself $15 an hour to sit here and listen for 3 hours, then it's like, that's $45.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Plus 50, it's like, that's a regular massage. So when I went out to the beach for the rehearsal of where the wedding was, there was a woman out there who was just like, hi, I have a massage business and I'm just like out here. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I got a massage. One of the best massages I've ever had in my life. And it was like $80. And I was like, that was my goal, to like contribute to the local economy one time instead of just like pissing away my money to Hilton.
Yes.
So
giving it to big business. Also, even if it's a bad massage, it's still a good massage. I don't think
right there on the beach. Oh, I could hear the water and other people talking.
And just someone lightly touching you that you've consented to is
that's
I'm
all
into
I
that.
need.
Yeah.
That's all I need. I just want a calming presence. Someone being like, "You're on vacation. You're on vacation."
I could have somebody come by while I'm on the beach and be like, "I'll brush your hair for $15 for 15 minutes." I'm like,
Done.
Do it.
Done. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. I'm sad though. It's so sad being back from vacation and then.
I know. Well, I was because you're already dealing with train issues today in New York. That it is a really weird concept of like you're on vacation, then you get back and you're immediately thrown into the heat of New York City and nothing working. And
I would have
It eradicates a lot of what you just went through.
No, it feels like nothing ever happened. It feels like, the whole appeal of that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Am I thinking of that movie? It's a science fiction movie from the 80s where you get like, instead of having a vacation, you just get the vacation memory. Total Recall.
Yes.
Thank you. You get the vacation memory implanted in your mind, and it's like, it feels that's like what happened.
That's just drugs.
Yeah.
Just do drugs.
Yes, just do shrooms. Go on a trip. But no, were you able to eat fish because you're pregnant?
I can eat fish. The one thing I did want to eat, and I was skeptical, but I actually don't think it would have been that big of an issue, is we love this appetizer with conch, and we do it when we do the day fish or snorkel trip where they get, right now it's off season, but they were nice enough to just do one conch for us.
Ooh.
And it's straight from the ocean, and it's cooked with lime juice and its other seasoning.
Yum.
And you eat it with saltine crackers, and it's kind of like a barbecue sauce with lime and bell peppers. And I didn't eat that, even though I was like, it is directly from the ocean, so I don't think I would be dealing with like a food poisoning situation. Mm-hmm. But I could eat fish.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's good. I love eating fish.
I just can't do
especially
sushi.
In the Caribbean. Oh, the raw.
Yeah. And oysters is another one, because that one, if like you get it from warm waters, you have a hepatitis situation.
Yeah, I also don't. I used to really love oysters, but then it's like you have one bad one, and you're like, I think I'm good for life.
Done.
I never want to go through that again.
But
just waking up in the middle of the night sweating, like,
was
it worth it to have 3 oysters on my birthday?
I think you can get hepatitis from oysters.
That's too much. It's not worth it. It is not worth it.
The only food you get an STD from.
That's how nasty they are.
But the one thing I also would suggest for Costa Rica, we did the year that I went, if you're doing the out of the all-inclusive, is there's so many, you can do surf lessons and they're relatively inexpensive.
That's really cool.
And there's an instructor in the water with you. So if, you eat it or you feel nervous being in open water, that you're safe. And it was super cheap, and I did several lessons, and I would highly recommend that as well.
So cool. Yeah. I have never been to that part of the world, to Central America, before. I actually have like high school level Spanish, and it was really cool. I love Spanish culture just from learning about it so much in high school, so it was really cool to go down and be kind of immersed in that. And even in the resort, there were some people that I'm like a little mortified by my own Spanish, and also just being a white woman, like, hola,
and I'm like, como se dice? It's just gringa everywhere.
It's just embarrassing, because like everyone speaks English, but then some people don't. But then if there's a language barrier, you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna try.
Yes,
I'll be the one to try. And then that's actually, that's why I was like, I would love to go back to Costa Rica again, go off the beaten path, because we were an hour and a half away from anything. So people did excursions, but it was like, and then you're getting on a bus and you're driving for an hour and a half just to even get to the volcano and stuff. But I'd like to fly into San Jose and check it out.
You can do a day there, and that's great. We didn't do that. The only thing I would say is, like, we rented a car. They don't really, at the time, this was in 2009, they didn't really have, no, it was 10, a lot of street signs to let you know where to go. And this was before realizing that I can go offline on Google Maps. Like the international phone service is way better now. So we had a really hard navigating that. I sat with my friend and we were like, if we did this again, I think we would like to do like a bus that we went with other tourists that took us to another destination.
So
we didn't have to worry about
driving
anything.
is tricky.
We got lost so bad to the airport that somebody in another car realized what was happening to us, and they were nice enough to, they were like, follow me and I'll take you to the airport.
Oh my God.
But
what
if somebody didn't pick up on our distress,
you're just waving in the car, help.
It would have been a nightmare.
Yeah. Was it hard? Was it difficult driving in Grand Cayman?
You're on the other side.
It was British Virgin Island, right?
So it's British Virgin Islands, and then the one thing we have to do all the time is the driver is always in the center of the road.
Wow.
So that's how you kind of know that you're in the right direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're on where like the sidewalk is when you're driving, like if the sidewalk's here, you're on the wrong side.
Wow.
So you got to be in the center.
That I don't think I could do that. But I feel like I would just be like veering.
But it's like, it's not trafficky enough, or it's not chaotic enough that you are going to make a horrific mistake.
Oh, that's good.
You're not doing an 8-lane freeway.
Yeah, yes.
Getting on feeder roads or anything. Like, it's just roundabouts and
Yeah.
one-way traffic. So you can always tell that you're on the right side, or the correct side. I don't want to say the right side.
How long did you guys stay there?
We just did we did Wednesday. We flew in Wednesday and then we flew out Sunday.
Oh, that's nice. It's nice, short. And how long is the flight from? Is it about 6 hours?
No, it's like shorter, which I didn't make any. It's like 1 hour more than going to Houston from here.
Yeah.
So I didn't make any. I was like, how is it not that far?
Yeah, my flight was 4.5 hours. I was like, that's just wild to think that you can just be several countries away. But Los Angeles is like.
Yeah, 6 hours. Los Angeles and Seattle are almost like 6 hours.
Oh my gosh, it's such a jaunt.
Yeah.
And you're like, you could be going to England for less time than that.
Exactly. And you're also, the nice thing is you're kind of within the same time zone.
Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't bring my laptop. I was like, I'm not doing any work.
I didn't either. I set my away messages. My vacation responder on my email did end up kind of spiraling out of control. Because it was just like random, like responding to every random like DSW ad. It's like, hi, I'm on vacation. I was like, I look psychotic. Like, I'm like, DSW needs to know that I will be back on Tuesday, August 8th. It was kind of mortifying. And then I'd email people and they respond, and then the vacation email would respond like,
because you can do that on your Facebook and Instagram comments.
Yeah.
Especially when you set it up for your creator page. And sometimes I didn't realize that. So I'd have friends DMing me, and then it would be like, thank you for reaching out to Sarah Talamash. She has seen your message and will get out. And my friend would be like, it's cool that you have this service. And I'm like, I didn't realize it was that. And you're like, that is an intense message.
Yeah, yes. To your mom when she's like, here's a video you might like. Thank you for letting me know this. So funny. But I felt great not bringing my laptop. It's
pointless, and it's also, you're susceptible to theft.
Yeah.
It's just one extra thing that you have to pull around, and it's like running shoes.
Yeah.
You think you're writing the great American novel, or that you're going to run every day, and you're not. So just let it go.
Pool.
Eat by the pool. Take a walk. Go for a swim. That's your activity. Accept it and move on.
Yeah, it's vacation. It's vacation. I stuck to my, I did check on my phone. I wanted to do like a full digital detox, which may be a upcoming journey for me. But it was hard because, you're like, I had like my books on my phone. I had everything. And then I just find myself wandering onto Threads. Yeah. Wandering onto the mental illness that is that app.
Oh, I had told my mom to bring board games, and we did not play one game because we're all 40 and above. Yeah. That we conked out at 8 p.m.
So did I. I mean, I was out. One night I tried to go to sleep at 8.
Yeah.
And Mike was like, this is silly. Like, I'm just laying in bed awake.
Well, I was getting to that position, like sitting down now is so uncomfortable that the only way that I feel good is if I lie on my side and scroll on my phone or watch reality shows for 8 hours.
I have to have my phone. Oh my gosh. I loved hearing about your vacation. That sounds so fun.
Yeah, join our Patreon, and then I'll do some deep dive of some of the most erratic behavior
Yes.
I've dealt with family. I feel like it's fair we did the other family. It's time to do my family.
Yes. Tell all part 2.
Tell all part 2. So join our Patreon if you want to hear.
And please like and subscribe. Please, if you've made it this far,
join our YouTube.
Join our YouTube. Write us a review on iTunes. We've got 140 reviews, and we want more.
Yeah.
Okay?
We just got a really great one.
Oh, thank you to whoever did that. And if you do a review, and you do have to email us at ladyjourneypodcast@gmail.com and say, I did a review. I will send a spell kit. I have some ready to go, and no one has taken me up on them.
Yeah. So join and give us money.
Please.
All right.
Lady Journey.